Let's
start.
Everybody get there.
I don't know where we're starting. Okay, hang on.
Okay.
All right. We are at the August 8th, 2024, 6:30 p.m. Council as a whole work session. I'm not sure if we really have do we have an agenda for this? Jason probably has an agenda. Of course, I don't.
It's finance, safety, and legislation.
It's who what?
I thought it was
Finance,
streets.
safety, and legislation.
Oh, I was listed on there.
Okay, so let's start with finance first. David's not here, so we'll do legislation last. He usually, and actually, let's do roll call. Do you want to start, Jason?
Streets is last then. Do I want to start?
Yeah, just no. Let's do roll call.
Okay.
Let's just go around the room. Just say your name.
Tommy Grant here. Yeah.
I don't know.
Anastasia Koss.
Tiffany Southern. Kathy Passion.
What does JP stand for?
John Paul.
Can you say that on the record, please?
Could be one of those.
Matt Dell.
What does Stacy
Can't-
stand for?
What's that?
All right.
What does Stacy stand for?
Anastasia.
Can you say that on there?
I did. I actually did. I did say Anastasia Alexandra Koss. And if you want to be more specific, it's doctor.
I don't want to be that specific.
Okay.
I changed my answer. It's chief.
Okay, wait, if we're all changing our answer, Mayor.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start with finance.
No.
And then we'll go to safety, and then to legislation, and then to whatever we have time for.
Can we start with good news?
Yeah, can we start with good news?
Can you say
though?
something nice first?
Yes,
Okay.
the first few things.
Okay.
July monthly report was sent out this afternoon, after I got the bank reconciled, so that's good. Income tax is up 8.8% through the end of July, but I will still caution everybody. I'm sure you've heard that the unemployment rate has increased, new jobs decreased, so there still are concerns in the economy that we need to be cautious with, okay? Unfortunately, I do not have an update on the delinquency letters that Rita was sending out. Hopefully I will find something for next meeting as to where that stands, okay? Our efforts for income tax collection, whether you saw the sign this evening or not, we posted on there, have you paid your village income tax? And then they reference to our website, which now has a link for income tax, and it gives the information to get a hold of Rita.
Okay. Just for clarification, this seems like it is common sense, but for the record, can we just reiterate what RITA stands for? The Regional Income Tax Agency?
Regional Income Tax Agency.
So it is an income tax and not a property tax.
I'll check and make sure that's what the,
I think there was
It
some
is.
confusion.
It is.
It's definitely that. I just want to say it on the record that RITA even stands for a Regional Income Tax,
not property tax.
not
Correct.
property, not ROPTA. It's RITA. Okay.
Okay, there are a number of pieces of legislation that involve finance. I can run through those real quick if you'd like. First one is ordinance 2024. It codifies what is defined as a proper public purpose for expenditures. Several years ago, there was a resolution that was passed, but it seems to get lost. So codifying it or putting it out as an ordinance will get codified into the codified ordinances for the village, and we'll have reference to it in the future, okay? Ordinance 21, 2024 creates a compensated absences fund. What that will be used for is to pay the sick leave and vacation that you would be obligated to pay upon retirement or termination. This allows me to set money aside annually to accumulate the dollars so we can meet that obligation when someone retires or when there's a termination. It's a lot easier to handle it over a few years than all at once. And we do have at least one retirement that's out there, maybe a year or two. And we have a couple of other issues with some retiree hires that we have to resolve that kind of came to our attention when we were working on the employee handbook. So, 2024, there's a supplemental appropriation request, and I'll let the chief address that one. Resolution 2419, there was no fiscal officer certification for an expenditure that has to come before council now to be authorized so I can pay it. I will point out that we do have procedures that are to be followed for obtaining purchase orders, which contains the fiscal officer certification of available funds and appropriations, which is by statute required to be done prior to, not after the fact. So we've had an issue, a few issues lately, and part of what I can do, following statute, the transaction becomes void and the person responsible gets to deal with it, not me. I don't have to pay it. And as far as things go, if they choose to come before council and request that it get paid, that's up to council at that point to authorize the payment. But I will not bring another resolution for then and now to you.
Okay.
We're going to nip the problem in the bud and stop the issue.
Wasn't me, for the record, it was
Yes.
not me. And Chief says it was not him.
This
So
is for
just really fast, it was for, and I'll just say it my way. You guys did do the appropriation, so what happened was the night that you guys did the appropriation, the next morning, someone went ahead and, I'm guessing, told the contractor that they could go ahead and do it. But the problem was, I was in the process of making sure that Brian couldn't do it less expensive, because we do have a maintenance team that I felt could go over and do this for a fraction of the price. So we went ahead and wanted to budget the money just in case we couldn't have it done. And in the midst of working with this, Brian went over, checked the project, and it was already being done. So we had not done the PO yet, because it's not normal that we would do a PO first thing Friday morning. It would be normal that we would, do them, typically Monday or something like that. By the time Jeff comes in, Leah comes in, everybody comes in. So it is normal to fill out the PO, get all of that stuff done, because the PO would not have been done before on Thursday. Not until you guys appropriate the money. So the PO cannot be done until Friday, and the project was being done. So that's kind of what happened with that. So oversight, miscommunication, call it what you want, but he is 100% correct that that is not the procedure to follow. Just because the money's been appropriated does not mean run out and do the project. It means we still have a process to go through.
Yeah.
So, and council only gets to see sort of the then and now certifications that exceed $3,000. Under $3,000, I have the authority to create a then and now certification and go ahead and pay the obligation. But things have kind of gotten a little out of hand, and like I said, we'll nip this in the bud and get it over with.
Okay.
Right? Let's see. Resolution 2024-20 is authorizes some transfers. I think the resolution that you saw last week only had one item in it, and it made reference to the GO note fund for EMS. In past years, there was actually a fund created to acquire an EMS vehicle, and then when we issued notes for that vehicle, there had to be a debt service fund to accumulate resources to pay the debt. So this one's closing out the debt service fund. It has $99 and change in it. That'll be transferred to the general fund. For the resolution that is now before you tonight, has two more funds listed, one with 36 cents in it and one with 50 cents in it.
So the one that we did in
Where
the
did that
past,
come
Jason,
from?
when we were talking about that last week, the one that we did in the past was a different one. So yes, we have done an EMS, when we were talking about that, we've done one in the past, but there were multiple ones. So we aren't crazy.
I just constantly remember us talking about $100 one.
Yeah, so now we're closing out all the
So
rest
there
of
was
them.
a second $100 one, or?
No, there's two other funds.
Yeah.
One with 36 cents in it,
Right.
one with 50 cents.
Right.
Unfortunately, I have to go through this process to transfer the money to general fund and
Right.
close the fund.
Right. So we did not close the $100 fund
We did.
previously?
Correct. We
Okay.
only closed the capital project fund used to acquire the vehicle.
I don't remember exactly what was in that one. Was it?
Well, that one, I'd have to go back and look,
Yeah.
but it also accumulated resources to buy a vehicle.
Right.
Okay?
Quick question.
Yes.
Is that like an Ohio statute thing?
To close them?
And just a sidebar, if there was a charter, is there a potential of not following that specific and maybe giving a $100 limit for non-need of, I don't know, I'm just asking.
But, no,
Okay.
because the statute as it's written applies statewide regardless of the form of government.
Okay.
So it's a statewide protection.
Carry on.
This just allowed me to clean up some things on the books.
Sure.
How did we leave like 50 cents in there?
Interest.
Interest? How did we leave that 50 cents in there? How did that end up in there?
I'm sorry,
How did we end up with 50 cents that we just left in there?
it was a grant fund that, by the time everything got charged to it, that's what was left.
Got it.
Actually, both of them were grant funds, so,
Accounting.
Yay!
yes, accounting. Resolution 2024-21 designates a depository for village funds. By statute, we're required to do it, renew that every 5 years. The last time this was done was 2016, so it should have been done over again in 2021. It hadn't been, so we're playing catch up on some things. And I have some documents I need to sign with Fifth Third in order to move forward with a couple of things too.
Didn't I just ask this last meeting?
You did in the work session.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I literally just asked if we have to do something like this. That's
We're
crazy.
playing catch up.
Yeah,
And what fees Fifth Third charge us are minimal, so it's not really worth trying to find another depository for our checking account. So we'll just stick with Fifth Third. It also would be a great deal of work to reset all the templates that are out there for electronic payments and so on.
it doesn't, by passing this, it doesn't lock us in for 5 years, does it? In the 5 years, if something comes along, do we have that option?
Yes, we could name
Okay.
another depository such
Okay.
as Chase,
Uh-huh.
if we want.
Yeah, okay.
To hold public funds. It also comes into play with active and interim deposits, and those are more funds that we don't need right away that we're trying to invest.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I don't have interim deposits right now because everything is active and setting in treasury securities.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right, let's see where we're at.
These are all yours.
I know, I was busy.
Anyways,
Yeah, I heard Wayne summarize.
Because then when he's busy, that means you're busy.
We got Will checked.
We'll check.
The last one that's mine is a resolution authorizing the mayor and myself, I believe, but if not, just definitely mayor, to sign the application going into the Ohio Public Works Commission for funding for Minerva Lake Road project that runs from Route 3 up to Fairview.
Far.
Fairview, sorry. Okay.
Just in case.
Think it's a
The grant writer gave us 5 scenarios as to funding options. And the most likely one to be approved is one that is a loan for $60,000 and a grant for $400,000. We would be responsible for the remainder, which is roughly $434,000 on that project. Project's estimated cost now is just over $1.4 million. Now, some of that includes storm drainage, sanitary sewer, a little bit of water line that we can utilize other funds, not just the street fund.
Okay.
Again, this application has to be in by the end of the month,
Yeah.
and hopefully we get the funding, otherwise we can't afford to do the project. Okay.
So your recommendation is, let's do this.
What was the breakdown again?
460.
Not the grant versus the loan.
The loan would be $600,000,
Okay.
and we would repay that out of the street fund annually.
Uh-huh.
Streets, man.
The grant amount would be $400,000.
Okay.
And I expect the loan amount to actually come in less than $400,000, because we've got approximately $150,000 in permissive money with the county engineer that can only be spent on Minerva Lake Road. So we will make use of those funds to help cover the cost of the project. And then lower the amount of the loan.
And is this, do we know the interest rate? Is this one of those no interest or?
My understanding right now is it's potentially no interest, which is, I'm surprised at, but I'll take it.
Yeah, and what's the length of terms of the loan?
For some reason, I think Ben said something like 25 or 27 years.
Okay.
The useful life of the
Typically, we
road.
only get 20 years on these loans.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I would prefer 20 years because in 20 years, you may have to do some repaving on that section of the road too. And I'd rather have paper.
I'm still gonna be gone.
Okay?
Do we think the sewers are another 400,000? Is that where that other,
More storm sewer.
more, okay,
There is some sanitary sewer in there
okay.
that, I think the last time I added it up was in the little over the $300,000 range between sanitary and storm.
Okay.
Okay.
I was just trying to make up the difference between the 600, the 400, and
Yeah. We do have some money setting in.
I saw that.
Funds to help cover those costs.
Yes.
Streets are expensive. And not glamorous.
And the last thing I need to fill you in on, we will be presenting a revised credit card policy for council to approve. We currently are not complying with the existing policy,
Okay.
and we've encountered some problems. Specifically, credit card number got out and used on non-village accounts. So that card has been canceled.
Ooh.
I will be calling all credit cards in throughout the rest of this month. And like I said, the policy will be revised and we'll be addressing the use of credit cards differently going forward. I cannot have this become an issue in an audit report. So maybe next meeting or next work session, I will have a revised ordinance for the policy on credit cards.
How many credit cards are out there? Too many.
I have one, Chief has one, he has, do you have one?
I don't want,
We have a pool concession.
I want to say about a half a dozen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe 5?
I don't want one.
6. 5 or 6?
I'll take it.
And
5 or 6.
no, 6 or 7. She came up with 7 too. I'm gonna go with 7.
Yeah, we need,
And it's basically like the head of whoever the department is. Like the officers don't carry him around or anything like that. It's typically Chief, Leah, myself. We do the orders in the office, obviously. Mine is typically used for recurring, like subscriptions and things like that. The only other time mine is used, I've used it a couple times, like to go get some stuff for the concession. So it's very rare.
The other side that's going with this, the volume of transactions has gotten a little out of control, and it is now taking Leah 3.5 to 4 hours to go through all of the credit card statements, match them up with purchase orders, hopefully that exist, and get the transaction posted. That is a significant amount of time that should not be happening.
And again,
We will get a tighter control on it, and we will have much better.
yeah, there's a couple that are used a lot. For example, maintenance is used a lot. I'm not picking on them, but maintenance is one of those ones that's used quite often. Obviously, the pool's used quite often. Chiefs is probably very rarely, mine's very rarely. Most of them are very rarely, but the 2 or 3 that are out there, they have a lot of transactions, and trying to match those POs is a little, I can only imagine.
Coming from the corporate world, I think a lot of times, I think that's put to like a self-service type of a thing, because I know I'm having to put my receipt to match my charge and then
Exactly.
matching that into the system. I don't know is that a potential
We don't have a
opportunity
system
to.
that
Well, not
we
only
can
does
see.
the receipt have to come back to us,
Right,
there's supposed to be a purchase order that goes with those things.
right.
And sometimes we run into issues there too.
Okay.
But, I mean, I think what he's saying, because we have something similar, is that you have to do an expense report where you upload your receipts, you code it to the right department.
It's the responsibility of the person
Which
that's
is
making the
responsibility
charge to
of the
provide
person
that
with the card,
documentation.
Not accounting.
In the government, you have to do before and not after.
Yeah, you have to do the PO before you can even go.
I mean, corporate worlds do POs too, but
Essentially what will be happening is a request for a purchase to be made on the credit card will have to come in to myself or Leah. and the card will be checked out. That will ensure we have a purchase order to go with the card and the transaction. They will be given a certain amount of time to bring that receipt and the card back to us. All cards will remain in possession of the fiscal office.
Card library.
We're all in trouble, just so you know.
I know, I feel like he went through my TJ Maxx receipts and now I'm in trouble. This is taking this very personally.
Chief and I can still both say not us.
Yeah, I don't have a card. For the record, I don't have a card, but I feel personally attacked.
Believe it or not,
Jeez, I'm sorry.
this stuff is addressed in a statute that was passed by the General Assembly about 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
When these policies had to come into existence, and you had a couple of choices as to how you address the use of credit cards. So we're going to go to one that's a little bit more strict, and hopefully that will reduce the amount of time to get the transaction posted. It will ensure we have purchase orders to go with it, which will help simplify our life in trying to account for it all.
Yes, a lot of work being done for no reason. Trying to chase down everything, so no, we're trying to simplify things. Okay, do you have anything else for finance? We have a couple pieces of legislation, but Chief has 2 of them, I have 1 of them, so I'll do mine in legislation when we get to legislation, because I won't. We had the TIF meeting last Friday, I can get over in 2 seconds. So we had the TIF meeting last Friday, myself, Brady, Barb, and Jeff Wilczek went to Westerville, so we were able to knock this out with Westerville and Blendon Township. This is just the process that we have to go through. We have to get this back over to them. So this is basically the resolution accepting, approving, and ratifying and submitting recommendations of the tax, is it the Turk? Yeah, Turk. And declaring an emergency. So this is just part of the process. This is the last step that we have to do to get all the information over to them. You guys probably, I know I only have the 1 sheet, but the whole packet is on there. So ours is very short, sweet, and simple. When we do our process, so this is just the final step that we have to do to get it over to them to finalize everything. So this is process. So that's that. So let's move over to safety, and then we'll end with legislation, which you don't have. We do have a piece of legislation we do want to talk about tonight, not that. So we do have something for you. Okay. But let's go Chief. Are you okay with that? Are you ready for safety?
Absolutely. I haven't heard anything from any of the residents, so Chief, it's on roof.
I have heard things.
So, wouldn't that have been under finance, but?
Well, we can do that, but we also have, Jeff skipped, you stepped out of the room, so that's why he skipped it. So he skipped the appropriation, but he also skipped the surplus for the car. So if you want to pinpoint those 2 things and anything else.
Okay, so yeah, we have a new vehicle. That's part of our chief's report tonight for council. The old vehicle that vehicle replaced, we typically would trade that in, but we found that the demand on those vehicles is higher than the trade value, so we want to sell it. So we just need the appropriate resolution passed that authorizes the mayor to sell that vehicle. So that's what that one is, whatever. I don't know what resolution number that is. The other one is from the finance, which is resolution 22 there. Basically, our canine Kimber got sick and needed emergency surgery. And the cost of that was unexpected, so we just need to move money from general fund over into our budget so we can pay that surgery bill.
Is she okay?
She is okay. She's expected to return to work next week. She's still wearing the cone of shame.
Did she do something smart or not?
Sorry?
Did she eat something she shouldn't have?
Infection.
Infection?
No, it was an infection. She got a uterus infection.
Oh.
Basically, it's a hormonal thing. It builds up over time, and this makes her more susceptible to infections. The surgery was to remove the infected uterus, so she basically had a canine hysterectomy.
Oh. Well wishes for her.
Well, I know there are human support groups, but I don't know much about dogs.
I don't know either. So,
She okay? She's happy?
that's it.
So that is all the legislation. So now anything else safety-wise, bike patrol. I don't know if anybody really even knows it's up in.
Ooh, I saw
Bike
bike patrol
I know people are
yesterday.
excited
On the
about it.
bike?
I don't know if you have anything to say about it.
Yeah.
Not to throw you on the spot.
Yeah, they are right around, so we'll probably see them for the rest of the summer, maybe a little bit into the fall. That's happening now, so, right now, the guys like it, so, a lot on second shift. We have one officer on first shift who lives to ride a bike, so, the daytime officers. I am trying to get them to not ride at night unless we have a specific thing that's going on, perhaps like in the park or something where we have something that's happening out there and you can put them on a bike and just have them kind of stealth into those areas where we might have some kind of criminal activity going on after dark. I don't want to ride around at night. It's too dark in these village to be riding a bicycle. Other than that, I don't have anything else for safety.
I have one more thing.
What do you have?
Fully staffed. 100%. We got every position filled right now. Is that accurate? I feel like it is.
That is accurate. There's 2 part-time positions that are open.
Yeah.
Our part-time officer retired from law enforcement and moved to Florida with his wife, and he's living it up down in Land O'Lakes, Florida. So,
Smart guy.
Sounds terrible.
I know.
What's wrong with Sunny Minerva
They are,
Park?
right?
It's very sunny.
So we have a part. His part-time job was the evidence room management, which is, there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it that people don't realize. And people just think it's taking evidence, take it to court and convict people. But the management of the property and that thing it's a high liability area, because if you do it wrong, the fines and penalties are in the tens of thousands of dollars for each occurrence. So you really have to manage that in a specific way, and he was really good at that. So replacing him will be difficult. We're managing right now because both I and the lieutenant were in charge of evidence rooms in our past, so we kind of know the basics, and then get rid of property, of course, getting everything cleaned out, because in case you get older, you just have things that have been collected, found property and that type of thing. It has to be removed, and you have to go through the courts to get that taken out of the evidence room. So that was kind of cool. And then, of course, we had an authorized for a part-time officer who was coming from Oklahoma, and we're still working with the state to get his peace officer certification. So you got to jump through hoops to transfer over. So, but he's still in the works, but it's just unfilled.
Anything else? That was. I just know they're moving right along.
Okay. Councilperson Cost, did you have something?
With safety, I mean, I think we're gonna talk about the noise ordinance though, but I don't know if we were
I
there.
was giving that to David.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't know yet, but yeah, that was.
Okay.
I mean, if that's where we're headed, does anybody else have David?
I read the stuff this morning, the agenda, but I didn't know about that.
Well, no,
So,
we talked about it a little bit when
I
we
just don't
were
think-
here last week.
I don't think Kathy was here.
No, David wasn't either.
Yeah.
Yes, you were.
let's.
David, you were. We talked about bringing
Yeah,
this.
but I don't think
Yeah, we
Kathy,
talked
should we
about
fill her
addressing
in
it.
though, cause she's,
We talked about
aren't you head of
revisiting it,
safety?
But I
Yeah.
listened.
Yeah, so maybe we should fill her in, I don't know.
Does anybody else have anything for safety for chief or finance for Jeff before we move on?
I guess the only thing is it seems like people are still having a hard time getting to the police department, or maybe not, but let's just talk, can we put the number out there again or something?
So we put it in almost every single newsletter, and you can't stop people from posting on Facebook that basically says,
Yes,
I don't know what number it
we
is.
can put it out there again.
Yes.
Okay, let's just do
And we do, and
Let's
she
just
puts it in
do
every
that.
single newsletter, we will continue.
We don't know what else to do.
Yeah, I don't know what else to do either, but
People
can
hear
I-
Franklin County Sheriff's Office and they go,
Yeah,
and it's, I don't understand.
Yard signs, put up some yard signs.
You want the police,
Might not be a bad idea.
and you call the number, and you're talking to
A police.
the police, and then, but it's not the police they want, so they have the phone. And we have no, I don't know, short of going door to door and asking each person if they know how to call the police or.
Maybe-
Honestly, it needs to be do you know how to call, it's like, it should be a PSA, and it says, do you know how to call the Minerva Park Police in a non-emergency? Call Franklin County Sheriff's Office. Ask, say you live in Minerva Park. Like, I feel like it needs to be a
Magnet.
one,
Needs to be a
two,
magnet.
We have
three,
magnet.
and it needs to be, yeah, we do have magnets. I have the magnet.
I have a
But the
magnet on
magnet
mine
does
too.
not say,
Do we have okay.
we have magnets.
Getting them to the number, I don't think is the difficult thing.
I think the difficult thing
It
is,
seems like they're all calling the number, but then you have a certain percentage of people who call this building,
Correct.
and it's just gonna ring, and it's gonna go to voicemail, and then they leave a voicemail.
Yes.
And say, I left a voicemail
Yeah.
that there was a suspicious person 3 days ago, and I haven't heard anything.
We don't prompt them to then transfer to Franklin.
Yes.
yes.
There's a prompt in there, you do the things, and then it rings, and it says, Franklin Sheriff's Office, and they go,
Yeah. Yes, it
So it's, I don't know what the fix is.
I think we need
I've
a
been
park bank that
since-
says in River Park, you need a park, Franklin County Sheriff, right? Something to get it across, right?
Since I started here in 2015, this has been an issue. And we have tried every manner that we can think of to try to educate the
Well,
public on how to come.
I think it should be a
If you go to the
Facebook.
Facebook page,
Yeah.
it says on there, we're dispatched by. If you go to the website, it says we are dispatched by. And
That's too much reading.
it's
Can they just
right-
text?
No, yeah, can I text?
Let's just start putting your cell phone number on there. I think people
Yeah,
would
it's just-
appreciate
Can
that.
I Facebook message you at 2 a.m.?
That's
You
what they
can,
do.
and you will get an immediate response that says, this Facebook page is not monitored 24/7. If you need assistance, if this is emergency, call 911, or we are dispatched by the County Sheriff's Department, you can reach them at 525-222. So,
All right, here, instead of making this a big old pouring salt in a wound, what I would like to, every time this happens, I would like to have a Instagram, whatever, square that says, trying to reach Minerva Park, ? We are dispatched by Franklin County Sheriff's Office. Here's the number. They will connect you to Minerva Park. It needs to be a large thing, and every time this happens, it's the same
We
post
could just
that we can
post
make
it probably every single
Yeah.
day, and I don't know, I still truly don't know that will make a difference. We can try it, and maybe we do it like 10 straight days in a row.
Why don't we
Just
do
to
it
see
once a
what
month? PSA. Hey, did you forget how to call the police? Here it is.
We might need like a viral rap video or TikTok.
Oh,
video.
TikTok video.
We
Chief,
make it
can
rhyme
you do a TikTok
and we make
video?
it cool.
Can you dance?
I guarantee you.
Why can't, here's my new solution. We should go viral, and then that will solve all our problems.
If you need an officer on a bike, pick up the
you
phone
go
and
viral,
call
we
Mike.
get calls from
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Norway.
Did you see that TikTok where somebody was really nosy and they were like the police were like arresting somebody and the guy was vacuuming his driveway? That's me. But also, and then it panned over to the guy and then he was vacuuming the top of the police car as the police were putting the guy in the car. We should make a video like that.
Yeah. So, and in fairness, our police,
You see something?
I believe it is just our lieutenant that has access to the Minerva Park police page. Barb has access 9 to 5 or 9 to 3 Monday through Friday. No, she only has access to our personal one. She is not monitoring it over the weekends. And our police department, they are not in their cars on Facebook. They do not have access to the Minerva Park police page.
I don't want it on the Minerva Park. It should be minervapark.gov. Police dispatched by Franklin County Sheriff's Office. They will answer and connect you to Minerva Park Police.
Yeah.
That would be the clip I would like.
Yeah, we can post it once a week. I would love to hope that it will make a difference. We've been doing this since 2015. We have magnets. Do you know if we have, and this is maybe a Leah question, do you know if we have magnets to hand out at our first responders night, which is September 10th from 5:30 to 7:30 at the middle school?
Woo!
Do we have magnets? That was a lot for magnets.
I think so.
Okay. So we'll also continue to pass those out when we're there. Maybe we can have an officer man that says, you wanna reach me? Call this number.
Maybe we could just get like a little phone and just hand it to people and say, wanna go on a call?
Yes, I agree. Totally agree.
We'll make sure we get a rotary phone because that's not fun to watch people try to, especially.
I wanna see the kids do it.
Figure that out. Yeah,
We'll make sure we do it.
We do it every day, so.
And again, and I know I'm personally making light of it because this is such an issue and it's happened so many times, but in an emergency, I do think maybe some people just get so nervous they have no idea, but other things is, it's very hard to fight constantly the people putting bad information on Facebook as well. So you have just as many people saying, and in fairness, a lot of people just don't call the police. They call Facebook police. Like, that's really what the problem is we're talking about this because we've seen it on Facebook so many times.
Put it in the Facebook group.
But honestly, what I want to respond, and I think we should either agree today or what, if something like this happens, even though, it is discouraged to respond to Facebook posts, but maybe we should say, call the police, here's the number.
I think responding is our biggest issue because as soon as you post anything, then you are responsible for responding to everything else. I'm called out because I commented on a food truck thing, but I won't respond on other things because it is a public record when you start commenting on would that be pretty accurate to say? Just stay away from it. I mean,
why can't I have a private page and a public page?
It's still subject to, you are still a council person.
As long as you don't talk about public stuff on your private page.
Oh, define public stuff.
There you go, yeah.
The business of the village. Like where to call the police.
I'm moving to New York. Just kidding.
So I think the biggest thing is we can't, and I'm saying this for me, I won't pick and choose what I comment on, I just don't comment. So, and do you guys know how hard that is for me?
Can you text me every time you want to comment?
No.
Dang it.
That's also a public record.
Oh, yeah.
And for the record, I don't do that either.
Call her.
No, she doesn't text me.
I don't, I think everybody knows that.
But if Canastasia boss.
Canastasia boss.
It's on my phone. I do not do it. It's
Picture of me with a mustache.
So, just to sum up there, then, it's been a difficult thing to get people to understand that we don't have a dispatch center here.
Yes.
We don't have a girl in the basement that was proposed by someone a few years back.
Why would it have to be a girl?
That's what they said, though. He's repeating.
That's what they said. So, not me. That. But I don't know. I mean, the Franklin County Sheriff's Office dispatches our officers. You call there and they answer, hey, Franklin County Sheriff's Office, yeah, I'm in North Park. Okay. And immediately that call is getting sent to the officer in the car and they go and they address the problem. So
I'm just trying to alleviate
Maybe the announcement isn't how to get in touch with Minerva Park Police. It's Franklin County dispatches Minerva Park Police.
That is what.
Like not even a number.
Right.
Just
continue to do that.
Yeah,
I think Barb and I can kind of play with it and do it a couple different ways and just see what happens over the next couple weeks. Maybe we get some big, huge sign that says Franklin County, dispatch for first responders night. She's got it on the sign, the phone number's on there, it flashes, again, it is on the website, it's in all of the newsletters, it is as many places as we could possibly put it.
Even with all of that, I was told Wednesday that there was a green car that was speeding and running stop signs in the MI section. That information was a complaint by a resident to our geese mediation people who then stopped in here and let me know. What? Really?
Yes.
That is not the appropriate.
So, even if we said call this number, there are just people out there that do not want to speak to the police. They just want to complain on Facebook or to other people.
Yeah.
We can get the little side mags and put them on the geese that says, call Franklin. I mean, honestly,
Not the
that's what
police,
we do.
but
We
here's
start
their
advertising,
number.
they'll do it for us.
I love it.
There you go, this is gonna go viral. We're not the police, but here's their number.
We're not the police, call our geese or something.
Yeah, there you go. This is easy, okay. We should do that, and no pressure, make it go viral.
Yeah, that's so easy.
Kimber, it's so easy. Look at
I know.
it's so easy.
Can we shave it into the side of Kimber?
Oh, right now would be a great time to do it because her haircut is not beautiful. I'm just gonna go with that.
Sorry, these are jokes, but
No, but in seriousness, I mean, we do understand that it's a problem, and trying to solve it has been an 8-year process. Now, we're going on 9 years now, so I don't think there is a solution. I think the only thing that we can do is continue
Volume. Yep.
to post it, continue to do those things, put it anywhere, everywhere, and hope that, you know, in an emergency, somebody really does, it triggers them to do what they're supposed to do. So, but I don't think commenting on Facebook is your solution.
Okay, so Facebook should make a post itself.
Yes.
Okay.
By village admin, and it's posted on our page, and we're not responding to
There's
other
a
people's.
button on our Facebook page that you just click and it
Takes you to,
takes
yeah,
you to,
correct.
like it dials for you, I think.
I would agree.
Okay, anyways, I was just trying to make it easier, not harder. There's a lot of brainstorming. I think,
Yeah,
I think we should just post it 5 more times and that.
No, 500 more times. I
Okay.
think you just do
Put
it
it on
every
auto
couple.
post
Yeah.
every month.
Yeah, I think that there's something that we can do to continue to do that, because it is,
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's important, I know we're.
Right, and I don't wanna like burden you guys by doing it all the time. Like, that's what I'm saying is like, is there a way to like.
Put it on auto, maybe on the first of every month.
On the first of every month.
There might be a way to do that.
And then that way, you guys don't have to worry about it, nobody else has to worry about it, but if you scroll, you don't have to scroll that far. Oh, here it is. Oh, Franklin County
I
answers for us.
wonder if we can
Oh,
even
okay.
pin that post
Yep,
to
there you go.
ours.
Yep, there you go.
So that's something that
Can't
we
be
can
that
look at as well. Continue to post it, but just so it keeps coming up.
But also maybe make it go viral. Just kidding.
And then we'll do
So,
TikTok.
that's all I have to say.
Okay. So moving over to legislation, David, we kind of all talked about this a little bit, and Chief, maybe you want to get involved in this as well. I personally struggle with our noise ordinance still. I just don't have a great solution for it. I know that we spent days, weeks, months, Jesse probably, talking about it the last time, and they came up with if you can hear it 75 feet from your house, which I would say that, you know, that's way more than 75 feet, but if he's sitting on his front porch just with his radio on, we would be able to hear it. So does that mean he can't do that? But there, you know, some people believe there should be a flat time that says at 11 o'clock at night or 12 o'clock or 8 o'clock or whatever time you guys decide, that's when parties get shut down. There have been multiple parties multiple parties outside that I'm aware of. So I'm not talking about one specific party, so if anybody's listening to this, I'm not bashing you for making phone calls. The three parties that I personally have been called myself on a Saturday night or Sunday or whatever, they've all three been parties that they had outside. 2 were graduation parties, 1 was a kid's birthday party. So anytime you are outside, you're gonna have noise. You're gonna be able to hear it 75 feet away, period. So at what point are our officers told to shut it down if it is just a little loud? I mean, everybody has different neighbors. My neighbors absolutely would not care. We could do what we wanted until whenever we wanted, and we have a lot more land, whatever. But all of these houses are so close to each other. 75 feet is...
Into the next door neighbor's house.
Oh, yeah, and you can hear it while they're watching TV. So I don't have an issue with the 75 feet. I don't have an issue with certain things, but I also don't think it's fair that people can't use their house to have, and I'm using a graduation party as an example. I understand that your neighbors may not like their music. I understand all of that. I don't know how to solve that problem, but I don't think that you should always have to go rent something outside of the village and not be able to use your house if you just want to have your kid's birthday party or something like that. That's my thoughts. But I also am of the mind that if it's 1 o'clock in the morning, I shouldn't be listening to somebody blaring, you know, any music. I don't care what the music is. So is there a fine line between putting a time limit on there and changing our ordinance again? Am I the only one that feels that way? Is there something you guys, I mean, you guys saw some of the complaints. This is the 3rd time I've had an outdoor party in the last 3 years that has just resulted in, again, Facebook war. Thoughts? Does anybody want to change it, or, I mean, in fairness, the party got shut down, we moved on with life, that's that, they haven't had another party.
Mailboxes got ran over.
Nobody,
property
so.
My thoughts.
I think the feeling of not having control over something like that, just like feeling like there is a process and there is no process, and it is a nuisance to your family, and you can't work, can't sleep, can't take care of your family inside of your own home, I think it's a fair complaint, you know?
It is a fair complaint, but is
So-
it fair that you can't do anything with your property as well? That's the question.
I don't
So-
care. If
It's not that you
somebody's
can't
doing
do
their-
anything, it's just a reasonable time.
Yeah, if somebody's
Like,
doing something with their property to the point that it's affecting me, then that's a problem.
But if you have 25 people over for a kid's birthday party and you're just playing regular music 75 feet, you're gonna hear it. So
Yeah,
that's my question.
that
It doesn't
distance
have to be
thing
out of
isn't-
control.
I don't think it's a distance.
Because I
thing.
think on Jordan Road, you'd have a little bit more grace than my house, which is four
I
and
would
a
have to-
half feet from
Right.
the
Yeah.
person next to me.
Jordan Road is pretty much excluded from this because we used to
Yeah.
have people that had bands out there and nobody ever called the police
Yeah,
Jordan
it's-
Road's just different. It's
Yeah, well, you have
so
an
far
acre.
away.
Yeah,
But-
it's just different.
Right, but you can't base it off of that. I
No,
think-
that's what we're saying. You
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
base it off that. I mean, you
I'm
have to
more
base
for
it off of this over here.
I like the idea of a time frame, like a
I
10 p.m.
also-
on the weekday,
And then the
midnight
downs-
on the weekend.
And the downside to that though is at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, if somebody has a band going on and it's loud, again,
Then it
at
also has
what
to-
point?
Well, it could be
I'm playing
time.
devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Right,
Do you
it
guys
could be.
know what is consistent throughout all 24 hours of a day? Decibels.
Right,
But how do you measure
That was my
decibels?
next follow-up.
Right, you can't really
Is
measure
there a
that.
reliable way
What's your
that
thoughts?
that could be done?
what is everybody else doing?
Most everybody has a distance.
And I think that's why we
75
went
feet
with
from the
that.
property line, because a few people have started to put in decibel levels, but we're having trouble, and the defense
Enforcing.
bar is knocking down like the tools we use because they're not like really calibrated yet. And so it's like a big, it's not something I wanna wade into now, maybe 5 years from now, they'll have tools that are a little more consistent, but it just invites challenges at that point. whereas
Can we
every-
do distance and time?
Oh, yeah.
So let's just do that. Let's just do what everybody else is doing that's reasonable. We don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. Like, why is this a big issue?
But then I think the next part of that is how is it enforced, and can we legislate how it's enforced? Is it a 1, 2, 3 strikes thing? You guys
Yeah.
mentioned that in the work session.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
3
and what
strikes.
does 3 strikes mean?
You
Because
get a
if
fine.
9 people are calling one time, and then 10 people are calling the next time,
3 strikes is 3 times if officer visits your.
On one property, it's getting shut down. There's no reason you're raising at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
Over Park period.
I don't disagree.
right.
So like.
Go make
I think
friends with
it's like,
somebody.
If it's 10 o'clock or later, and you're raging, you got 3 or more police calls, that's it, it's done.
Well, everything at the pool shuts down by 11 for
So-
good
Yeah,
reason.
that's
Maybe
not
consistent.
right?
Well, I'm
Right.
just saying, it's, if you
Well,
have an
that's-
after hours party, it closes at 11,
We'll say
and that's part of the
Because it's a
reason.
We'll
neighborhood.
match that 11 o'clock then. Because 10:30, maybe it's kind of quieting down. But if it's like 11 o'clock and you're just got a rock concert going on, for example, then, and you have 3 police calls, or 3 calls that result in the police showing up, then yeah, there's
Yeah.
obviously an issue going on.
So,
Are you good with that? I mean,
Well,
essentially, that's what we're
but if you do 3, and I'll jump in for the
Okay.
chief, if the police need to be called 3 times, that kind of puts the police in a tough spot too, it's like,
how about 3 visits? Is that,
I mean,
is that
even,
too? Nobody's gonna visit 3 times.
it feels like more than one. Like, if the
Yeah,
police are
let's
called, and they come and say, turn it down, or this is done, and you get called again.
Okay,
That
so-
seems
Yeah.
So,
very,
Chief?
well, yeah, that's.
if the chief shows up, that's it. 2, or if chief shows up once, then you're done.
If it's being obnoxious at 9 p.m.,
Yeah,
you can still tell them to turn it down.
but what we were talking about, sort of time, place, and manner is not infringement on free speech. You need to be able to tell everyone when it's 11 o'clock, just make it a set time, hours of operation type thing. 10 p.m. on the weeknights, Friday, Saturday, 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Then it's consistent across the entire village.
Okay, but here's the thing,
That's
this-
under challenge.
Okay, but if it's so say people work during the day or they work on weekends and say that party next door on Saturday at 2 p.m. is so loud that
Yeah.
you can't work during that time frame to the point that you can't be on a Zoom call or you can't take that work call. I think there has to be something else than just time frame.
No, I agree with you. I think you sort of funnel it down to the most egregious offenders by, okay, first you put up a time frame. I mean, we can do this all at once, but you have a time frame. And then, in reality, no one, if the police shut down their party at 3:30 in the afternoon because they're being loud and obnoxious, no one's going to sue us about that.
Okay.
Like, go ahead. What are we, you know what I mean? It's like, we're responding, the police respond
The
to complaints by
infringement of free
neighbors.
speech, yeah.
We have evidence, you're loud, we'll win. It's just sort of, when you do decibels and the property line and all that, that just adds like, well, are you sure it was 50 feet? And it's just a bunch of BS. So if you put some hard deadlines on time and then say, if the police are getting called multiple times for property, the party's over. We'll figure out how to write that down. I think that's a legitimate.
I think you're so logical and so I love it. I think, Chief, do you love it? He does not love it.
He's waiting to see if he can talk.
Okay. So typically, the way this works is, there's a party going on, it gets loud, the neighbors call, we show up, we say, hey, your neighbor's calling, you're being a little too loud, they just ask you to turn it down. Because that's typically what they call and say, hey, can you have them turn it down? We're not opposed to the party, but it's just really loud, and it's, you know, I've got this going on. Okay, so we go over there, just turn it down. They go, yeah, no problem, because the residents of this village typically, and I would say probably 90%, will say, oh, we want to be good neighbors, and they will turn it down and try not to offend the neighbors. There is that 10% that will say, yeah, okay, we'll turn it down, and they turn it down, and then you leave, and then somebody at the party goes, why is the music down? Turns it back up, and then we get called the second time, we're like, we're sorry, we have to shut it down.
Sold.
I mean, that's the way that it works right now.
Okay.
Okay? Now, if you want to put in a curfew on those hours and say that at 10 p.m. on some night, then we can go, listen, there's an ordinance that says at 10 p.m. you have to shut down your party. And they say, well, we're not shutting it down. Great, are you the homeowner? Here's your whatever misdemeanor the village decides to charge for your noise ordinance violation. Here's your ticket. And each time every time I write one of these, if you don't shut it down, I'm going to continue to write you until you do. Mm-hmm. So it just becomes a thing where, yeah, give me all the tickets you want. Okay. And, so you sit out there, and after you get to, $17,000, $18,000 in fines, maybe you'll go, okay, this ain't worth it.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is you want some teeth?
What's that?
You want something with teeth?
It's something to do with teeth?
Something with teeth.
Yeah, you just gotta have,
You gotta have teeth.
The ordinance has to say it's this level of violation the first time, and maybe even enhance it, like, if you have a prior violation within 6 months or a year, then it becomes a higher misdemeanor.
Okay.
So, in that case, that would be, even if the officer had to print something out, keep it in their car, and they say, here's a copy of the ordinance, perhaps you weren't aware, but at 10 o'clock we're going to be shut down, so I'm sorry, you got to turn it on. They go, oh, I wasn't aware, okay, yeah, we take care of it. And 90% of the time, it's done, it's a done deal. Okay, but we need something for the other 10%.
Okay.
Okay, we have 2 minutes left-ish before the next one. Go ahead.
Yeah, every ordinance or, law or, whatnot should have, teeth. There should be a real purpose for it. So, yeah, don't agree.
Do you want to, okay, so we'll have him do that and then we'll bring it back here in the next couple days. And then, does anybody have anything else? We do have like 2 minutes for anything. Okay, 1, 2, 3, sold.